Okay, so we're live tonight because by the grace of God we're not dead. So we get to share our real life experiences. And in doing so, the main purpose for it is that somebody else finds recovery, somebody else comes out of the pit of addiction, out of the pit of the darkness of the life that they were living before. And as I like to say, that it isn't only for addicts in recovery, this group. This is for people that are trying to live a better life. How's it, Sharon? Carl, Gladwin. Good evening. This is for people that know addicts. This is for people that want to live better lives. This is for people that are affected by addiction. And in general, it's for all of us because everybody's affected by addiction. If you disagree with me, please write a comment and ask a question or say something. How's it, Gladwin? My sister Lee J, all the way in the UK. And yeah, I think as Mr. Hall mentioned earlier, maybe every meeting is special, because each meeting that we do, we get a response or a phone call or something from someone that has a specific something that we said or done or some message that we carried that penetrated in their story or that they could relate to. How's it, Clutchy? Lekker to see you watching. We're all well here on the farm because we're on the farm, or because we came to the farm. That's why we're well. I think I've seen many people recover and live good, prosperous lives and things like that. That has come through the program taught by RAEL and by Mr. Hall. As you heard some of his story previously, on the anniversary of his 15 years, and even people still contact that was involved with the recovery meetings, that the support group meetings that Mr. Hall used to run before he had the farm and the premises to keep people in a safe, controlled sort of environment until we could manage our own lives in a sense again. We needed our lives to be managed and to be taught by him and by the program. So what happens then, that is usually people phone us in a desperate state of, it needs to happen now. It needs to happen now, because what happens with an addict is either he's been through enough destruction and chaos and pain, and he gets to a point where the fear of the unknown is less than the pain of what they've been through, and they become willing to change. Either that, or they pushed into a corner. Hi, Vonnie. Good evening, Charlotte. And either they pushed into a corner or they get some ultimatum, and in many cases that does work. If parents say prison or I'm going to make a case against you because you stole or sold this that belongs to me. And sometimes you get those addicts that are just looking for help. And what about them, eh? What about them? I remember I'll speak on sort of the Cape Town region when I was really trying my best to come right and look for help and all of that. And at the moment we know that the country's in chaos and that it's the hospitals are in turmoil and that the system is busy failing us. There is much more addiction cases than corona or COVID-19 cases in South Africa. I believe there's much more cases that want help. Where do they go to for the help? When I went through the government, this was probably in about 2013, 2012, 2013. I was visiting a place where they said that there's help for addiction, and there was these Patricia DeLille posters on the bus stops, and I was phoning that number, and I was struggling. I was walking from Boeresig to Molnerton for meetings that the government had made available. And the first part that I didn't like about it was that a counsellor that didn't know what withdrawal was, or what I was going through, is that he tried to advise me on what I must do to not feel like this. But he had never felt like that before. And I was in a desperate situation of needing detox meds for the heroin, and because it's a pretty painful physical detox, anxiety and all of that, and then obviously the people on sort of other drugs that are more psychological than physical also need to be in a controlled environment for a while. So I would walk sometimes from Boeresig to Pardon Island, where these meetings were being held at a library in Brooklyn, and I really felt at this stage that I needed help, and that I was dying. Obviously, because of the stigma attached to addiction, there wasn't many people that was willing to use their hard-earned money on me to go to rehabs and to try and get my life right, because obviously we affect the ones closest to us. We steal from the ones closest to us. We manipulate from the ones closest to us. We just hurt and destroy and destruct anything that's got to do with normal living with the people closest to us. And we're not really given a chance until we get a bit of substantial clean time. But how do we get this clean time? So I'm begging for them to send me away. There's not a government hospital that will take me. There isn't a rehabilitation facility that is through the government. If it is a political sort of issue, and it is a serious situation, because I believe that 80% of crimes of the people in prison is drug related. The theft and the whether it's selling drugs or buying drugs or addiction, a lot of it is drug related. And so the waiting list for me to be able to get into a government facility at that time was 9 months to a year. And I didn't believe that I had 9 months to a year left to live, because at that time when I wanted help, there wasn't help available through the government. So the system had failed me, in other words. The system didn't only fail me, the system failed the people that I was stealing from, the people that I was manipulating. So isn't there a bit of corruption in that part of the taxes and things that should go to a certain amount of rehabilitation? Or is it just too easy for people to know someone that knows someone to get into these facilities, into these government facilities? I don't want to mention too many of the names of the places. So we go into a place like that. The red tape on the running a rehabilitation center says the red tape on the running a rehabilitation facility says that the people in recovery that are attending the program aren't allowed to work. They aren't allowed to do certain tasks and things like that. But how do they leave then a different person? By sitting on the couch, or sitting in a class listening to a counselor that's never been on drugs. Show me the results of these places, man. That is what we beg in the political parties and government to do. Where's the results of the people? And if anybody knows somebody that's been to these places, please comment. Please comment if they got got more than a year sobriety and they're doing well and they're productive members of society. So welcome everybody that's joined, and I think this is it's a scary state of affairs, because what do you recover? Or do people just get used to being put in the system, like when they go to prison? You get used to being put on the waiting list, you wait outside, and in that time you just carry on causing destruction, you carry on causing harm, and wait to be put into a government rehab that has a 1% recovery rate. How do you learn to go to your day job sober and deal with the ups and downs of what happens at work? What happens when I'm working with you in a team and I disagree to the way that you want to do something? How do I learn to deal with that? If I'm not allowed to pick up a rake or a spade or to make a nice garden? Am I meant to sit there and do artwork? Must I paint my nails or my toenails and do recreational? That is why there's so many pregnancies that come out of the government mixed rehabs. Because they taught there to use something at their disposal when they're bored. They're not taught what to do when they're bored. They're not given the opportunity to work towards their goals. Because working towards your goals means that you need to take an interest in something. Being able to work with your hands, or build the self-esteem where you can look at your work where you've done something afterwards. Now I believe that it's not only the system or the people that's addicted already, but the system of education when it comes to life skills and drugs. I know in grade 7 I had to make my son a poster with all the different drugs on. And it wasn't the life skills that they needed to say no. It was the life skills showing them what they need to say no to. So I believe that the system failed me in a sense where I wasn't educated enough, first of all. The system failed me where the one night I was very high, and in Boersig they were selling drugs around the corner from where I was living at the time, and I was working night shift as well at the time, so the nights that I was off I would be awake, but I was also high and doing my thing and all of that. And myself and my friend, we decided to saw his palm tree at 3 o'clock in the morning, and what happened then was that the cops came there, and they wanted to search us and wanted to know why are we awake at this time of the night, and wanted to tell us what to do on our property and all of this and whatnot. When just round the corner there's cars at that time in and out there the whole night. So I asked them about this. I said, what is your problem with me? Is it because you see that I have an addiction problem and you want to target the addict now? Why don't you target the source? Because I had a kid growing up in the area, I obviously didn't support the merchant in the area, or the smokkelhuis or whatever. But I mentioned to them, why don't you go see what's going on one street down in that road, man? There's people up and down there the whole night, and just on the corner there, as you come into Boersig, there's a van that used to stand on the grass there at night. So I told them that my opinion is that they're on the payroll, and they were looking for other cops. And I shit you not, in that same week, the guy that was running that place, that was selling the drugs from there, got me in the parking lot at ShopRite and told me, why do I speak to the police? How's it, Mom? How's it, Dad? Good evening, everybody. Messages are popping up a bit quicker than what I can read them and speak at the same time. But it's fine. And so what about the people, the young people in that area that was being exposed to the drugs and things? What about the education there? What about the cops not stopping and searching the drug dealers that we give their names to? Why don't they search them? There must be something going on that they don't. Because if it was only myself and my friend that was using drugs at that time, and the two cops that wanted to search us, how did the guy that was selling the drugs know that I said anything to the cops? So then that's one part of it. Another part of it is that we obviously try and sponsor people. We sponsor more people here than any government rehab does. Even though they're getting millions a year to supposedly accommodate this problem in South Africa. And what happens then on the other side of addiction is that you get an addict sometimes that is forced into addiction. He's desperate, maybe coming from a shelter or coming from prison, and they walk into the doors by us, and you can't recover without gratitude. There's different areas of your life that you need to work on, that we teach you how to live. So we expose you to exactly what you're going to be going through outside there and what you need to do outside. Not sit in a lot of classes the whole day. So if you're not doing work in your daily life, in recovery, then you're not in recovery. It's easy to sit at home on your mother's couch or in a shelter, or say that a shelter is better than a rehab, or prison is better than a rehab, if you can still smokle there, if you can still use food as currency. But the problem with the addict is that when the drugs aren't there, the first thing that they go for after that is luxuries, food, and whatever else that they can take because they're ill. Like me. I'm sick. I will try and fill the hole in my soul with anything. And it's never enough. Never enough. If gratitude is a part of recovery and what works, how do you show your gratitude if you're not giving back in some kind of way? How do we give back then? By sitting in a class and listening to somebody? By watching movies the whole day on what drugs do to the brain? All I need to do in a recovery center is look around me and see what drugs do to the brain, man. To see what it does to the lifestyle. All I need to do is speak to the parents that phone us or come and visit when it's not locked down. So it takes time and effort. Nobody else can do your recovery for you. It takes time and effort. If I tell you A needs to go to B, I can't take A from A to B for you. The addict is the one that needs to put the work in. But most of the people in recovery don't want to do this because they've been spoon-fed by mommy all the time. And the world has become a place where we want to just get things for free. So we can rather post them to Mr. Hall and ride on his back and his hard-earned money and his sobriety and get a little bit of clean time for while we're here, eat his food and listen to his program, and still not wanted. I seen somebody leave here the other day after 4 years that done really well. And this is why it's a lifelong illness. Is because if you stop working your program, you're going to go back to the person that you were before. That is what they call recovery is hard work. Not hard work working with a pick and a graph. That isn't the hard work in recovery, because you don't do that at recovery centers anymore. Thank you, Richie. It's not recovery that's difficult, it's the resistance to it. It's like walking up an escalator that's going down. Once we stop putting the effort in and stop wanting it, we have to turn back to what we know. Because then the illness starts speaking. So we're either working on our recovery or our relapse at all times. When you're sitting there and you're thinking about, should I get up and do this today when I know that I need to do it? Or can I put it down and do it a little bit later? That's the choice you got. Addicts don't simply have the choice anymore. Yes, I'm going to stay clean and now I'm not going to do drugs. It's not just a simple yes and no anymore. It's yes, I'm going to work this program and give it a chance, the program that has worked for other people and that I'm being taught here, and get myself and my own thinking and my thoughts of what I know about recovery out of the way, and listen to somebody that's been through it. Hi, good evening, Diane. But I have to repeat that it's a family illness, and at the end of the day, it's about saving a life. In my case, if it's or in anybody's case, and we work with and deal with families, if somebody in your family is or doesn't like the way you do things, and you in recovery, and you're getting your recovery right, and they get angered for you if you tell the truth, or if you don't want to lie or smokle, or you avoid conflict. Hi, good evening, Colleen. Then I just do what I need to do. But they need to sort out their issue, because I've got enough issues of my own to deal with. So if I steal something and I feel the guilt, or if I lie to somebody and I feel the guilt, then I need to do what I must do to not get myself into that situation. If you say something to me that I don't like and I feel it, that's my problem, because I'm allowing you to let me feel like that. I need to change something about myself if I don't like that. That's why we speak to parents and tell them that they need to put boundaries in. But if I wrong you and you have a resentment, your wrong part in the issue is having a resentment, because you're hurting yourself, addict or not. So what Mr. Hall teaches us over here is always to view our wrong part in the situation. So I like to use the example of if Graham pulls my ear, I can't do anything about his action, but I can sort it out, or I can feel a couple of ways about it. And this is for people in recovery and people not in recovery. Plenty Angie's here, Lee J. If Graham pulls my ear, I can either give him a look and I can hate him for it for the rest of the day or for the rest of the year or whatever, or I can practice the program, and the program tells me to not hold resentments and all of that, because at the end of the day I can't control what he does. And if I'm walking around with that inside of me to try and control what he does, then he's got my key to turn me whichever way he wants to. So I can either retaliate and give him a backhand, But what I'm trying to say is, or I cannot retaliate and I can walk around with a resentment, go to bed at night dreaming of and fantasizing about of what I'd like to do to him for pulling my ear. But I need to look at my wrong part in the situation. And my wrong part in that situation would either be me giving him a backhand afterwards, or me going to bed with a resentment because he doesn't feel that resentment that I'm feeling, or me obsessing about what I can do to change him, or I can do it the correct way and change myself and the way I process and see and feel things. No, it's not RG blue. It's Marlboro blue tonight, Mr. Hall. So it takes a long time to lose these thoughts and behaviors of even in a recovery center like us, you'd be exposed to almost every kind of situation that you would face if you're living out there out of a rehab and just trying to get life right. You'll be exposed to different conflicting situations. But if you're sitting in a class the whole day, or if you're watching recovery movies the whole day, or if you're being counseled the whole day, where do you get the chance to put this into practice? How do you change in 3 weeks or in 6 weeks? Some of the government programs are 6 weeks. How do you get close enough to somebody to open up to them in that time? Because most addicts and people have trust issues when they come into recovery. So it's a constant working of the program. And as I said, that is the hard work that they say that it's hard. Recovery is hard. It's not hard physically. Maybe extreme withdrawals from alcohol or withdrawing from opiate-based drugs like heroin and certain pharmaceuticals is physically difficult. But there's no physical difficulty in recovery. There's laziness, which is a human character defect, which is sometimes to the extreme in addicts that come through our gates over the years that have come into recovery, which it's escalated now because they sit at home and they want things on a silver platter. And sometimes mommy gets into the rut of being the person's servant or running around. If I can live on the streets on drugs and survive, man, with stealing, smuggling and robbing and stealing and carrying on and thinking I'm a breaker and selling my warm clothes, then surely I can survive in a place where I'm getting overfed and a warm bed and showers and all of that. And a very good recovery message from somebody that has the experience, that lived on the streets, that's been in recovery for 15 years. But if we're not going to participate, we can't grow. Garth, you can't do anything about Richie talking about you. I'm sure there's many people out there talking about me at this point, about what I stole from them, about how many houses I broke into, about how I conned them. But I was ill at the time. And that I've dealt with. personally, that I've put in my past. Because I didn't only wrong people, I was wronged as well. And most of the time what addicts do their first week or two in recovery, when they get into a recovery center, instead of writing their story, they write a hit list of people that wronged them. And that's what keeps you awake at night, is your spiritual condition, because you're so full of resentment and poison and chaos and guilt. Thanks. Yes, Richie, that is exactly what happens. We used to let our moms cook, and we don't come home for 3 days. We eat a garage pie here and there in between, or whatever we can, or KFC if we got a lot of stolen money. And we come into rehab and we want to be picky and choosy about what vegetables we eat and what we don't eat, and what we do eat, but we want to be outside there and we eating tick, and we sniffing tick, and we injecting heroin and smoking dacha, marijuana. So we try and build the people in all areas of their lives. Where we're trying to take the initiative to educate people about what we've been through, because everybody knows an addict. So if you take it in the spectrum of it, being a pizza, if it's a whole pizza, and we all know how pizza looks. It has different slices, and those are the different areas of our life. And some of it is life skills. One of the slices, that is your hygiene and being on time and budgeting and all of that, etc. When people come into recovery, then they think that there's no budget. They think that they can just push on their parents' number, and mommy and daddy must just supply the cigarettes, must just supply more luxuries, must just supply more the whole time. Because this is the illness of more and take. And that's what brings me back to how do we recover if we don't do anything constructive during the day that is normal to most people, that our mothers do at home. Clean up after ourselves, sweep our rooms. So by most of the time, I don't know if you folks know that pizza from Debonair's that's got that rim around it. What's that pizza from Debonair's with that rim around it? No, not the triple decker, the one with a full crust. Now most of the time when we come into recovery, we only got that crust left in the different areas that of life that is needed to be able to live a good, clean life. And the program that we run is obviously the first thing that usually goes out the window, and I'm sure parents can notice. Oh, the cheese crust, Richie. Richie likes pizza. And wrestling. And he likes Joni. And he likes us. And he loves recovery. And so you got this pizza with the different slices. By the time you come in here, your self-esteem is right up against the rim. Your work ethic is right up against the rim of the pizza. And your hygiene standards is right up against the rim. But we're trying to keep these pizza slices filled all the time. We're trying to keep it full, a whole full circle of pizza slices. Your character defects, it's been overworked, so you need to eat that slice away and fill it with the good stuff. And that is the hard work in recovery. Your social skills are up to shit. because you're full of resentment, your honesty, the slice of honesty is eaten away. And and people paying the bills. Most of the time we ask anybody that's come through the doors of RAEL, we in our meetings and in our life skills programs and so on, we ask them when they leave a light on, how many electricity bills have they paid in their life. So when people leave here, we try to make sure that they know how to live life, because if it's their electricity that they're paying for, anybody between the ages of 18 and 70 years old, we've had up to 77 years old here already, and these are all normal life skills. But because addiction is an illness of more and taking a little bit more until there's no more, and then we take a little bit more, we will try to still take, whether it's food, whether it's whatever the case might be. And then we come into recovery and we think that our parents should reward us for being in recovery. We spend with a lot of the newcomers, depending on the willingness of the person that comes in, we spend up to 3 months sometimes convincing the person why they should be saving their life. So we're working on all these things constantly. The pizza slices. So what starts happening is our hygiene starts getting a little bit better. We work on the physical. We do a little bit of exercise. Our self-esteem is low. We start doing little productive things, either with Graham here in the panel shop. If it's a little fender bender, then you see the broken car before the time. And then you help Graham, and it's your first time that you're exposed to this kind of thing, and then you fix it and you fill it up, and your self-esteem starts getting better, because once it's sprayed nicely, it looks good again. And you carry the message, because you look at Graham knowing that he came in here 5 years ago with a toothbrush and a white vest that was grey. But we don't judge him, because he was living under the bridge in Lansdowne and is now a qualified panel beater. So you see a person come from that, and you a person in a similar situation at that time, and you help him here in the panel shop, or we've got welding here as well. We've got woodwork that goes on the farm. We've got gardening tunnels. And even what I'm trying to say here is if you stop doing those certain things, how do you build your self-esteem in a class? By getting the answers right. Most of the addicts are slim enough to know the answers to give the psychologist. Most of us know the verbal right answers. We all know, even non-addicts know, that you're supposed to forgive and forget. That you're not supposed to hold resentments. But is it easily practiced? I don't want to go too extreme, but try saying the serenity prayer, or try being at peace when you're pulling out of the parking lot and somebody reverses into you. Yeah. So it's all about control and me wanting my way. But I need to accept that I can't always get my way. So automatically addiction, it robs us of all these things. Of our hygiene, of our social skills. It drives us into isolation. We start living on an animal level. And that is what it will go back to all the time if we don't practice certain things. One of the guys over here, out of his own free will, that walked here in the rain quite a while ago, out of his own, he was broken. And we're seeing a different light come into this guy's eyes now. I'm obviously not allowed to mention his name. Well, I can mention his name, but not his surname, because there's plenty Eugenes in the world. But the way he's done the garden, and you can see that he's putting effort in and things like that through his own free will. Nobody's forced him to, if you want to call that work, because I'm sure many of our dads have mowed their own lawn before, while we were sitting on the couch doing nothing, or drugged, or playing TV games, or fritting up mommy and daddy's Wi-Fi. But this guy done the garden so nicely, and we can see what it's doing internally for him. Having a daily shower, looking after yourself hygienically, being in a routine where you eat certain meals a day, and obviously the recovery stuff that's taught here, trying to put that into practice. The inner healing with our pastors, and the courses that they do. It's all just another angle, all different angles of recovery. Our support group meetings that we have with our guys daily, the step work that we do. That's all part of building that pizza up again to a whole person. But what addicts do is then they get complacent. And they go out there, or it happens even over here, and they stop practicing certain things, and they start going down with that escalator again. And what happens is then, after 4 years, they stop doing their program. And they have to return back to that sick person, because it's a sickness we carry forever. And it's not addiction that is hopeless. I'm responsible for my recovery and what I must do daily, man. I am responsible for that. And if you're going to stand in my way of that, I'm going to go through you. Because if my life depends on it, and you trying to threaten mine, then I'm sorry you're going to lose. That's how serious we take recovery here. Because at the end of the day, it's a life-threatening illness. And it's threatening a lot more lives at the moment. As we're sitting here speaking by God's grace sober, it's threatening a whole lot more lives. Because it's not like corona. Only the person with corona suffers. But with addiction, if I'm the addict, there's many other people that suffers as well with me. So I implore all the people in recovery to try and keep your pizza full. Try and live your whole life, and to be a whole person once again, as taught here in the program at RAEL through Mr. Hall and myself. I've got the privilege of carrying the message, because it's a message it was a mess that was turned into a message that works for me. I'm a whole person today. And I can say that because when I'm taking my own inventory, anybody else can take my inventory and say what they want to about me when I know the truth about myself. And I'm being honest with myself. So to all the guys that have been through this program, and some of their names are on the wall here tonight, keep it up, gents. It's good to see you doing your part. And sometimes when I look at my problems and the things that I want to complain about, all I need to do is look around me sometimes and actually be grateful to have the problems or the things that I complain about, because a while ago I didn't have those things to complain about. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to give it over to Mr. Hall now. Thank you for participating in keeping me sober tonight. And I hope that this reaches who it needs to. As the group grows, we grow together. And it's lovely, actually, sitting or being able to sit almost together. Thank you all. I'm going to hand it over to the addiction recovery guru now, because I can guarantee you that more people has come through Mr. Hall's hands that is recovered today. And this is facts that I'm speaking, man. Anybody can take me on as well with this. More people have come through Mr. Hall's hands that are recovered today than any other place or any other program in South Africa. And I've been to a few myself. And I know many addicts. Thank you to all that help us to carry the message. And love you lots. Yes, Mr. Hall.
Good evening all. Thanks Kurt for a lovely share. That was like, really got me fired up. That's Kurt getting to his firing best. And you know, I just want to talk a bit about the other side of addiction, about the political side of addiction. I know premiers of this country whose children are lying on the streets. I know other politicians whose children are in recovery. I've even helped some. I know rehabilitation centers. What goes on in those rehabs never gets mentioned. I don't see social development going there, no one. But they'll pick on a rehab that it's doing its best. And I'm not financed by anyone. Let me tell you who I've got in this rehab. I've got a general manager who's been through, I think, 13 or 14 rehabilitation centers. I've got a man who was on the streets running his own panel shop. I've got a man here who was mental, and I say that with love because I love the mental people, because a lot of people say I'm mental. That's okay, I don't mind. I used to mind, I didn't care. Who's got his little tax business here. Just as Kurt was getting angry at the end there, I'm angry with these politicians, man. I'm so angry with them because I got so much filth on them, but yet they won't come and help a man. They won't help a man in any situation. It's all about me, myself, and I. And that's what's wrong with the addict today. The addict wants to come in here, like Kurt said, hi Conrad, and be spoon-fed, and then tell his mother, oh mom, I'm carrying bricks the whole day. He's carried about 5 bloody bricks. But then the drugs and norms and standards of the drug policy of South Africa says they can't do any manual work. What lot of crap, man. You know, I've got a mother here with Alzheimer's. I've got 3 carers. Now the carers who come look after my mother, they don't come cheap, and I must pay them. I've got a social media manager who's paralyzed, who I love to bits, in London, who does all my social media, PA, secretary, she does everything. Then I've got a cook who comes in Monday to Friday. And besides Kurt, who works for me, all my other staff and my mom's staff are previously disadvantaged. So I'm creating employment for 5, 6 people. People don't look at that. On this farm, we got 10 dogs. I'm talking about the ones with 4 feet. And 9 of them are rescue dogs. We've got an alpaca. We've got Pippa the pig. Pippa's been here 5, 6, 7 years. We're a family here. We're a family here that tries to teach the still suffering addict and alcoholic, my brother, there is a different life. You don't have to go to prison like us. We kept that man out of prison yesterday with a letter. Hi, Sinette. 2 people in one day. Thanks, Kurt. We kept out of prison. Not because we're so slim, but when it comes to addiction game, We know what it's like. My girlfriend is a doctor, and that's hard luck. That's her profession. I've got nothing to do with her profession. But doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists don't know a shit what we know about addiction. They don't know what it's like to wake up in a pit and look for your next fix. They don't know what it's like to walk around and say, please sir, give me 5 rand, give me 10 rand so I can have my next fix. They don't know what it's like to go through the DTs. They haven't got a clue. But they can talk about pull your life together, you know. And you go to a psychiatrist, empty-handed. And I've got a lot of psychiatrist friends. You go there empty-handed and you come out with a bag. A bag of what? Of pharmaceuticals. The problem with this country, there are so many bloody rehabs out there, or so-called rehabs, that stay undercover so they can get away with shit. We are vocal, we are open, and we've got nothing to hide. That's what our lawyers do. That's their job, if anyone talks crap about us. But I'm sick and tired of people that I've helped, and top politicians whose children I've helped, who do nothing for us, who do nothing for the still suffering addict, who do nothing for the still suffering alcoholic. I had a woman on the phone to me this evening saying, I can't afford it, I need help, I can't afford it. Well, don't they realize that the only man that sponsors this place is me? But yet, there are such beautiful people who will come drop us off some cakes. Michelle on Sunday came there with a little bit of dog food. The doctor's job in the house, besides being the doctor, is that she brings the beanos for the dogs. Sorry, I'm just reading this message here. And I think we need to get to that point, man. I've always said this, and I will say it again and again and again, and I've said it right around the world where I was being invited. But the government have never said to me, whoa, Anthony, well done, you've been invited. Here's a certificate. I got one from Helen Zilla. I don't even know where it is. I think it's in the back drawer. A person never gets acknowledged in their own town. And Jesus was like that. Never get acknowledged. I've got a pastor here, two lady pastors, Marion and Katrina. They come twice a week. I've got another pastor here who's been here for the last 2 weeks. A man of 71. A man who played rugby for his country. A beautiful man. Imparts his knowledge to these people. You can't learn recovery out of a bloody book, man. You must learn recovery because you must get into the addict's mind who's sitting in front of you. And most of the time it takes 3 months before you can get that addict to realize, hey brother, it's time to change your mindset. I know what you're feeling. I know what you're feeling the first time you walk through that door. Because I know what it was like the first time I walked through the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous. I never went to a rehab. My folks would never put me in a rehab. This is more than a rehab, man. I hate the word rehab. This is a house for people who want to recover. This is not a guest house. So if I ask you to go pick up the dog shit, go pick the dog shit up, man. Because one day if you get married and you're sober and you get yourself a little doggy from Sandy's Eden in Worcester, they got lovely dogs, they got hundreds of dogs, go choose a dog there, please. You're going to pick up the dog shit. If I tell you to wash the dishes, if my manager says, it's your turn tonight to wash the dishes, you go wash the dishes, man. Because there's no maid here, and there's no maid in your mother's and father's house. Then you go and wash the dishes. If you go to the toilet, you clean the toilet. Is that hard labor? Is that what the government's trying to tell us? That's pathetic, man. Rather steal millions and millions and billions of rands. That's acceptable. But the way we have to mollycoddle people. Because what am I doing? I'm mollycoddling back to his former life of drugs and alcohol. Kurt paid me the compliment of probably I helped more addicts than any man in this country. Yes, I'd like to see another man who's helped more. And I'm saying that humbly, because there's a way of having a passion for something. I live in this house. I live in this house. I get up in the morning and I go to bed in the same house that I work. And now and then I go visit my girlfriend when she's made a nice supper or something. I mean, more support is needed for the addict, but for the people that are helping the addicts. When I hear anything, people say to me something bad about Kurt Schuler's past, I laugh at them. But I say, you better not say it again. Otherwise, what you've got, my boy, or girl, whatever, will be taken away from you before you can even blink your eyes. These days, we're not getting lawyers defending us. These days, we've got lawyers fighting for us. We need to change the whole concept of getting our boys and girls right and ready for the world outside there. I must teach him, listen here, my brother, we got vegetable gardens here. Go work in the vegetable gardens. Not to make me not buy vegetables. Just so we can take some bloody pride again. Where has the respect gone in this world? Where has the respect gone that I lost for my mother and father? The discipline. The discipline. Us people who went to the army. We were disciplined even though I lost it afterwards. We were disciplined people. We know what it's like to get up 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and get onto the parade ground in a little t-shirt and a little pair of pants and a pair of tackies and get fucked up. But it made us men. We've seen photographs all over social media where the men, they don't even look like men anymore. They look half woman, half something else. But society accepts that. Why can't society accept that some people took the choice in life to use drugs and alcohol and now they want to change their life? What is so difficult about that? What could be so difficult about that? We are like the forgotten people. And a lot of people are waiting for us. You heard Richie the other night. Sorry, I get very passionate when I talk about this. Because my job is my life, is all I do. Because I've done all this shit in my life. The only thing I haven't done is sleep with a man. Otherwise, I've done it all. Richard was here. He came in broken, man. And then a year and a half later, he goes and he gets his Springbok colours back. I didn't see the media. And it was all over social media. I put it all over. Where's the media to take that story from drug addict from the streets to the heights of the Springbok colours? Where is that? They're very rare to give an addict any award or any accomplishment because it's not evil. It's not like it's not going to attract attention. Throwing a man out of a bus will attract attention. Looting and not paying UIF and etc. attracts attention. I said to them once, give me Robben Island. I don't want to buy it or whatever. I haven't got that type of money. And bring the addicts. Keep the stores there. We teach them skills. You can come to our farm now with a broken down car, whether it's crashed or whatever, we'll fix it. You can come here with a motor stuffed, we'll fix it. You can come here with your tax returns not filled in, we'll fix it. And there's many other things. There's many other skills that are inside the addicted person that is just waiting to come out. We finish off with, thank you, Kurt, again for your Sorry, my nose is a bit blocked. I haven't been sniffing cocaine before that. People go say that's the next thing, but you can go say what you like. I'm going nowhere, so don't even think that. Is that I believe, this is my personal belief, that there's a lot of love that is lacking not only in society, but in the people that are addicted and drugged. We need to love more. I'm not talking about this wussy love, like me telling Lija in the ear, Lija, I love you. That's crap, man. I'm talking about true love. Unconditional love. Listen here, you little boy. If you want to get sober and live sober for the rest of your life, you will take the cottonwood out of your ears and you'll put the cotton wool in your mouth and listen to myself, listen to Kurt, listen to Richard, listen to Graham. And we guarantee you something by the grace of God you'll never use again. Not norms and standards and signing papers. You must have 2 rubbish bins and 1 shower that side and 1 this side and 1 that side. Because tomorrow I'll just change this place into a church for healing. So simple. So simple. Support us, people. Not financially, it's okay, we don't want your money. Money's tight now, Corona has screwed you and the government has screwed you. But if anyone here, and I'm going to post a photograph on the live stories wall tonight. I'm not angry, I always talk loud, but I'm just like a bit passionate about these people that want to bullshit you and want to go to conferences and want to give press conferences of this is what they're doing for the addict, but what is happening on the ground is a total different thing. I was interviewed by a Sunday newspaper today. It comes out obviously on Sunday. And they asked me the exact same question. What do you think of the new World Drug Report? I told him it's pathetic. It shouldn't be written. It's a waste of paper. Because what's happening on the ground has got nothing to do with that report. The drug report of South Africa has been written and changed 29 times. Because they're trying to screw you when you're trying to help others. I had my friend's Rehab screwed a while ago. And he had a good place. Because you know what talks here? Money. I don't bribe fucking no one, man. I will not bribe anyone. Ever. I will give them something as a gift, but I will not bribe anyone for anything. Because my sobriety is at stake. And that is what it's all about. I know when I'm looking at Conrad Schuler's name here, and he was the eptomine. That's a very big word for Oak Standard 7. But he was the eptomine of how a father had to treat his son to get him right today. And that's Kurt Schuler. Because I'm going to put a photo of Kurt on you when he came in here, what he looked like. What he looked like. That's just puppy tripping of what he looked like. And you tell me what he looks like now. And you'll see the difference of why we're so passionate and why Kurt Schuler gave such a passionate meeting tonight. Because we're up at 5:30, we go to bed 2 o'clock, and then maybe in the afternoon we catch a quick half an hour or an hour. That's our life. That's what you call dedicated to it. Would I want another life? Never. 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 Because I love to see people recover. But when you come and play with recovery, then you must go play in Boswell Walkie Circus and ask them if you can play with the toy lion and go drug and drink more. You're not here to come and play. You're here to do your recovery. You're here to be loved. And the whole thing is, you're here unconditionally. Take it yourself if you want it or don't. Find God and put your soul at ease. Sometimes we miss the whole God point. We don't force it here. We don't force it down anyone's throat. We just try and do the next right thing. So thank you once again. Thank you for Kurt and for everyone. Hi Charlotte, thank you for everything that you do. Being this presence on this forum shows me not alone. If God is for me, who can be against me? From the RAEL house, from the RAEL farm, are men, and when they want it, men who rise up and become ambassadors for God. There's no time for wussies, man. No time for games. Games we play at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when we take out a cricket bat, and I still teach these youngsters how to play cricket. That's why I'm proud of the men that have come past me and that today are still sober. And I will continue to mention Richie and Graham and Freddie and Stian and Luandra and Garth and so many more. Big J from Boerdesig, the man's about 15 foot tall. But when he came into my house, I had to tell him, listen Jay, I don't think I can take you on, my brother. So just cool down and let's work out this recovery. And I found out later he was a gentle giant. There's many stories we can tell from this podium. Many stories that we can tell about recovery. And Kurt Schuler, everyone, besides his mom and dad and his girlfriend and his sister Lucille, everyone wrote him off. Everyone wrote him off. And I'm going to post that photograph in 10 minutes' time. Look what God did to that man. Today he leads my house with aplomb. Because leaders make leaders. And that is the motto of RAEL. God bless you. God keep you. And I'll close with the word like I always close with. And that word is grace. And the G is the gratitude. The gratitude tonight, I can sit here sober. Sober with friends around me. My staff and my friends, but they mustn't come and cross the border. Because if you cross the border, you're going to get shot. Not literally shot, but you know what I mean. Just in case I'm quoted out of context. There's 4 people allowed my side of the border, and then the others must stand on the other side. 4 people I trust with my whole life. Grateful for you, friends watching us, listening to us. The messages we get afterwards are beautiful. R is the respect we've got in this house. Any lady can come into this house at any time and come see how spotless this farm is. And there's only men staying here. Besides my mom, she's like finished cleaning, she's 87, she's not going to clean anymore. But this farm is spotless. The A is the acceptance. I accept I got an illness, disease, call it what it may. If I get complacent, I relapse. End of story, man. I don't even have to go into what my girlfriend went into 7 years of study, man. God bless her in her doctorship. But she knows what I think of doctors. The C is the courage. The courage of our men today to change. Because it's easier to lie on mom's couch. There's 2 couches in this world. The one is on the park bench outside, and the one is in your mom's lounge. Takes courage to change. And the E is the empathy. The empathy for the still suffering addict and alcoholics in this world, and their parents, and their children, and their loved ones, and everyone they come into contact with. A bit more love will see this world a better place. We are being bombarded with wickedness. We've got men dressing up like elephants. We've got women dressing up like lions. And that gets front page news. But when a man has saved his life through addiction, he's just another it. God bless you. God keep you. Until we see each other tomorrow evening. Please spread the word of our meetings. Bye-bye.